Archive Podcast.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah, but who the hell cares about wildlife anyway?
Right. We're over.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Nerd Archive Podcast, the podcast that we deep dive into all things nerdy. As always, we are Justin, Lola, Yadi. Myself is Lewis. I am Lewis. And with us, we have a special guest. He's equally passionate about nerdy things, gaming, superheroes, Star Wars, as you can tell in his background. And his name is Ivan Colon, aka El Giga. He's a streamer, podcaster, radio voice in Puerto Rico. So, what's going on, Giga?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Thanks for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here. So
We're very happy that you're here.
Appreciate it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
awesome to see passionate people just like us when it comes to, and it's funny because this podcast started as we're always talking about nerdy things as a group. Why can't we just show to the world what we talk about and record it?
Yep.
And just for those that are passionate but don't see little things in movies and things like that, we're able to bring that to them. So that's how this whole thing started. But enough of us.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? And everything that you're doing right now.
Okay. So for those who don't know me, I'm the first person that started covering gaming in Puerto Rico. I do a radio show that airs in Orlando, Tampa, and Puerto Rico simultaneously, and it's #1 in all three markets. So I've been doing that for 14 years with the same show, El Despelote.
Nice.
I also do a TV show in Telemundo in Puerto Rico called Yo Soy Un Gamer. We've been doing the show for like 10 years, but I actually started doing TV, gaming stuff, pop culture, and whatever in 2004. So I've been doing this for 20 years. I've written for numerous newspapers, magazines, DirecTV magazine. I was actually a sports anchor for a while in like a PBS style TV station in Puerto Rico.
Nice.
And one of the coolest things I've done that a lot of people don't know about, for Dragon Ball Super Broly, I actually did a voice for one of Vegeta's henchmen, like his second in command. I did like a voiceover in Spanish, so that's really cool. I'm actually a Saiyan, so yeah. I never turned Super Saiyan.
You've hit the jackpot.
No shit.
Okay, so you just blew my mind. You just blew my mind because I am a Dragon Ball fan.
Really?
So I've been a Dragon Ball fan since it was in El Show de Chevy.
Yeah.
So man, you just hit the spot. You just became my new best friend, Yadi. Justin, I am so sorry.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I am no longer his sibling. Now you are.
I guess I'm gonna have to fight you for that because I'm equally a Dragon Ball fan as well. So just wait. I'll be over in a few minutes.
the one line, but I don't care, man. I'm still saying. So it's really cool. So I've been doing. I started doing the podcast right before the pandemic. I bought all the equipment and stuff because a lot of people are asking for it. And since I started out in 2004, there was no social media. There wasn't anything. So I started writing for the newspaper at first. I didn't use my nickname. I wanted to. I didn't want to feel. I mean, like people that didn't follow the industry. I didn't want to be like this kid with a nickname, back in the day. And now I don't care. I lost my name a long time ago. But when I started out, I knew that the industry, it wasn't looked upon the same way it is right now. It's expanded a lot. It was starting to get there.
Right.
think it started out with PlayStation when the first PlayStation came out. We started seeing more mature games, and we started seeing athletes and I don't know, celebrities playing video games and being open about it. And it wasn't this a totally huge nerdy thing. It was more accepted. So I wanted to show people that it was really a powerful industry.
Right.
Um, so that was my first kind of focus when I started doing the different content. Like I did some radio segments back in the day in La Mega, and I did like a bunch of stuff in different places. I actually did I was doing a show in Dominican Republic too, a radio show. I had like a weekly gaming segment. I've done some things in Panama. I did some things in I actually did a TV pilot for a show. It was all pop culture, movies, TV shows, streaming, gaming, whatever, in Boston. So it aired like we did like two shows. So I've been around the block a lot. I'm really passionate about this. I mean, I've been really lucky that I've had the opportunity to do what I like, how I
Right.
like, and really when there was really no blueprint to do this. I obviously saw the old school magazines and uh, people like Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb and their TV shows and
Mm.
other people that had these shows or the different magazines, EGM, obviously Game Informer and whatever. But I never thought that there was a channel for me to do that. I'm
Right.
I don't I'm not I studied advertising, and so I never thought about a career path going into like programming or development. It wasn't really an option back then. So uh, I got lucky. I talked to the right people at the right time, and I started doing stuff. I was actually when I was in college, I was working at GameStop, and when the whole GTA thing came out with San Andreas, the whole hot coffee
Oh
controversy.
yeah.
I was interviewed by a couple of newspapers and news like news anchors went to the store, and they picked me because I started like just like talking to everybody. And one day I had this dude just walk into the store. I was assistant manager back then, and I was just talking to him just while I was working. And he's like, "Have you ever written anything?" And I'm like, not really, but I'm taking classes, and I'm doing the whole advertising and communication thing in college." And he came back a couple hours later, and he's like, "Listen, I'm the editor for the Vocero, one of the major newspapers back home in Puerto Rico." And he said, "Let's do a test. Let's do a couple of columns, and let's talk about games and the industry." And he liked what I talked about with him about.
Right.
Um, and I started doing a column for like 8 years for the newspaper. Then I did Primera Hora. I did what else? El Nuevo Dia, two of the major newspapers back in Puerto Rico. I did Univision. I've done the whole thing. I've been everywhere over here. So basically, that's my career path. And
Right.
obviously, I started podcasting, like I said, when the pandemic came up, and we had the lockdown. So I've been doing this in social media besides doing TV and obviously radio. It's been I never thought I liked radio, but I did, and I done some crappy movies over here. So I did like I've been to besides Dragon Ball, I did 3 more movies over here.
Nice.
TV show and one for, I mean the radio show and another one for another radio show, basically. So yeah, that's been my career path basically.
That's
So
awesome.
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've been around the block, like you said, and
Oh yeah,
that is it's amazing because I'm sure that the four of us have always thought about doing something like that.
yeah.
Mm.
Definitely. Yeah.
I've always wanted to do voiceovers, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. So it kind of put in the back burner because I was more scared of figuring out how to do it than
Yeah.
anything else. But I, it's funny everything that you talked about, and because it being in Florida for over 12 years now.
Yeah.
And hearing you talk about Primera Hora and Vocero and El Nuevo Dia, it's like
Yeah.
bringing like memories.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's amazing. I'm glad that you are doing everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Um,
I am too. Don't worry about it.
yeah.
You know what? I don't take it for granted. Every time I meet people in the street, like fans, or it gets kind of weird when I see people and they're like, oh, I remember when my grandfather used to drive me to school, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, I'm like, been doing this for like too long. So, but I really enjoy it. And it's like you said, there wasn't really a path. There wasn't anybody in front of me that I could look up to and say, you know what, maybe I can do this, or I can go this
Right.
way or that way or whatever. So it just everything like kind of fell into place. So I've been kind of lucky that way. After I did the newspaper thing with the guy that went to the store. I remember we were taking pre-orders for the 360 in one of the stores I worked at, and this dude came over here. He's like, "Dude, I need two Xboxes and whatever," and we still had some pre-orders left. So I'm like, "Listen, they might come back. They might release a little bit later because they were later pre-orders." And I'm like, "Give me your number," and he's like, I don't know. He didn't want to give me his number. I'm like, "All right." So he came back and he said, "Can I like add you on Xbox Live?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I got him the 360. He was a producer for a radio show in Puerto Rico. There was a famous celebrity over here, Raymond Arrieta. I used to work with him, and he actually sent me a message through Xbox that he was going to be a producer for a new radio show. That was in 2004 actually, and he's like, "Listen, I want to do a gaming segment. Nobody's ever done that before. I mean, they've had things for like Black Friday. They bring in some geeky guy that they know, or somebody that works at the station or whatever,
Right.
that they think is a gamer, or they think that they know something." Yeah, I've been fighting that my whole career. Like everybody's like, "Listen," I'm like, "Listen, this is my job. This is what I do." They're like, "Yeah, my friend plays Call of Duty like all day," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Same thing, dude." Yeah. So when that started out, I started doing the radio show with him, and during the first like month and a half, one of the presenters for the show, one of the co-hosts, she got married and she went on her honeymoon. And the guy that came in to cover for her for a couple of weeks or whatever, we started talking. We became friends, and he's like, "Listen, I'm doing a like a segment show. They had like a little late night show where they showed like clips of I don't know, people doing extreme sports, or they interviewed artists or concerts and whatever." And he told me, "Listen, we want to do like a little like gaming capsules, just like little reviews or little previews of games coming out." I'm like, "Sure, let's do it." And it was MTV Puerto Rico that turned into Hangueo TV, and that it switched up a little bit. So that's where I started doing TV. So everything kind of fell into place, you know. And I've been lucky. I've never really had to search for anything like media, like in any of the media outlets I've worked for. It just kind of fell into place. So I've been lucky that way. I've just been Johnny on the spot with a lot of people, and I can't complain. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Super cool.
Do you?
It's funny. I was gonna say, like, it's funny that you mentioned that you added that person on Xbox Live.
Yeah.
Because I added you on my PlayStation a long time ago, so I have you
Oh yeah.
as a friend there for a long time. Obviously, we never played, but um, it's just funny that you mentioned that.
It's really, you know what, I got like 1,500 people on PlayStation. It's the only problem is that when I get review codes for games, I can't be online. I can't you can't see anything. So I'm basically always offline. So
Yeah,
I'm always getting new stuff. So I don't really. I mean, I play with like a couple of friends or whatever, but I used to do that, do like a little play date thing and play with a couple of people. But since games are releasing so fast and one after the other, it's a lot of times I can't talk about the games. And that's what I don't. I don't really do streaming, and I have to. I bought a $300 capture card just to do the whole thing. The I bought the Avis one that's 120 hertz. It's
hmm
got VRR or whatever. I don't want. I had another one from Elgato, and they're gonna release another one. I'm kind of pissed about it, but I didn't do that because I don't want to mess up. I got a kick-ass TV, and I'm like, I want to really enjoy the game even when I'm playing. So I got to do that, but sometimes I don't really want to play after I finish the game. I don't
Right.
jump it into the new the newer one that came out or it's coming out or whatever. Like right now, Tekken, or a couple of weeks ago, The Last of Us, or Prince of Persia, or whatever the game that came out this week. So it's kind of hard that way. But I do want to do it. Everybody wants to like do the whole stream thing, and I want to play with fans. I really enjoy it. Sometimes I meet up with people randomly playing like COD, or I don't know, and I know they're from PR, and they write me back. They're like, "Oh, are you a Giga?" I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool, but it's difficult.
Yeah, no, I was watching your podcast earlier, and it's very, very informative.
I
I
try to be. Thanks.
Yeah, and I like it because you are not just informing of the things that you already have in mind.
Yeah.
You are also reading your chat, and they're asking you questions, and you're answering those questions about those games, and you still have information because it shows that you do your research, and you have to, obviously,
Oh yeah.
and especially
Or
with the line of work that you have.
yeah.
But it's not just watching a video on YouTube about a specific review. You can literally just ask a question, and you have the answer. So that's what I gather from your show, and it was very intriguing.
I always think that I'm like a treasure trove of useless knowledge. It just so happens that all this useless knowledge, it kind of works nowadays. Like
Right.
20 years ago, like I remember the first time I wrote an article. It was about superhero games. I had complete control of what I wrote, and I was writing about DC Universe, and I think it was Arkham, or I don't remember the other game. It was like a Marvel and a DC game, and I'm like. I wrote the article, some kick-ass art from who was it? It wasn't McFarlane. I don't remember, but it. Then I was talking about it on the radio, and I'm like, I'm talking about superheroes, and this was before the boom of all these superhero movies, Iron Man and well, the X-Men I think came out around that time, but it wasn't this huge boom. And I've always been a superhero fan. Obviously I got the Magneto, I got half a sleeve full of Jim Lee, and the other this is all gaming or gaming kick-ass dudes, and I got a bunch of tattoos from either movies or music or games or the whole nine yards. So, but when that started out, and I started to figure out, I'm like, I'm doing some stuff that you really couldn't talk about in media, and you never saw that. You might see like it's something huge happen if Stan Lee was had a birthday, or it's Superman's 83rd birthday, and they said it on CNN or whatever. But there wasn't really a conversation. And
Right.
what you said about the podcast, I really figured that out. I don't know. I like talking to people. And when I was at the store, when I worked at GameStop or whatever, people used to come just to talk to me, and we would talk like the whole shift, and they would ask me questions, and I like that kind of conversation that's been lost really with digital with all the digital media, and really the shift from physical media to all digital.
Right.
You don't get those midnight, like long lines with 100 people talking about something they're passionate about. That really doesn't happen anymore anywhere. So I try to do that in the podcast. And somebody asked me once, like, what? How do you do the podcast alone for 2.5 hours, 3 hours? And I'm like, I don't really feel like I'm alone because I'm really talking to people. So
Right.
it's a conversation. Obviously, I skip questions, and I get pissed sometimes. And some people, nowadays are all the fanboys and stuff. And all the toxic people, it gets difficult, and I try to be as calm as possible, but I really get pissed sometimes. I want to knock some people out sometimes, and it's I don't know, it's just sometimes frustrating that people just don't enjoy stuff.
Right.
We're in the
Yeah.
best era of entertainment in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years. Everything that you never thought would have made the movies,
Yeah.
or they've made a game about, or we've had some amazing experiences like in TV, movies, the pop culture all around, and people are just bitching and moaning, and they don't enjoy anything, man. It's really frustrating sometimes, and uh, you get these hardcore toxic fanboys, and I kind of let them have it sometimes.
Okay, so it's funny that you brought that up. I have a question for you,
Yes. Go
and
ahead.
you're more than welcome to answer. If you don't want to answer, it's fine.
I will. Don't worry about it.
Who has the most toxic fans?
Right now, it used to be PC, but right now it's Xbox, by far. It's the worst I've ever seen. In 20 years working in the industry, covering the industry, it right now, and I've said it before, it's not the whole Xbox community, but
Mhm.
that small vocal community, it's horrible. They're just delusional. They're all over the place. It's fantasy that they're just pulling strings all over the place. Like I remember before the PS5 and the Xbox Series came out, all these false rumors all over the place about the PlayStation's gonna be $1,500 and it overheats and it's gonna have no games and games are running at 5 frames per second and you got all this stuff and I'm like, where are people getting this? And I saw I'm not gonna mention people, but I saw a lot of big like YouTube channels, like tech channels, saying some ridiculously stupid things, and people were fighting me, and I'm like, dude, if you look at the information, if you look what's really going on, like with the SSD, that's one of the classic things that came out during that whole process. I remember one of the big tech channels. I lost total respect for them because they were talking a bunch of crap, and like 4 or 5 of those big channels and websites, they had to do retractions. Exactly what I was saying. I'm like, dude, if you listen to what they said, you would understand what actually is going on instead of
Right.
just shooting the gun and just going ballistic and just saying totally worthless stuff. And it's been that way for such a long time. And people think I hate Xbox. I don't at all. I actually have a Master Chief tattoo over here. So, but the reality is that they spent the last 10, 12 years backpedaling and doing nothing. And it's frustrating. And I know somebody's a fanboy when they ask me about that because they never mention Nintendo. They say, Sony does this. And I'm like, Nintendo does exactly the same thing. And so if you're not mentioning them, that they're doing the same thing Sony does, that means you're actually have an agenda against PlayStation or whatever.
Right.
And I just want cool stuff. I want cool games. I don't. One of the best times ever. I remember when the PS3 and the Wii launched. During that week and a half, we got Gears of War. We got the PlayStation 3 with Resistance and a bunch of crappy games, and you got Zelda. So you got the Wii with Zelda and Wii Sports and whatever. So you had this weekend where 3 consoles came out, and we had the best game that came out until that period for that generation, Gears of War. And you have Zelda that was amazing with Twilight Princess, and you have Resistance, which it was a pretty good game for like a launch title. And I'm like, dude, you have all these games, and people are just fighting all over the place, and they don't get that Xbox. I think I don't want to do this, but yeah, that Xbox really has that they're not doing anything well. I mean, it's impressive. Like it, I've been covering this for so long, and you see tendencies, and people keep like believing the stuff that they say. Like this is going to be the best year for Xbox. You can look up montages on YouTube. 10 years in a row, Xbox. This is going to be the best year for Xbox. We're going to have a game launch every 2 weeks, and they're like, "Oh, are we going to have an event every 3 months? Where is it? Yeah, we canceled it the first week." I'm like, dude, at some point you gotta be
Right.
you gotta be realistic, and you can like a company, you can like a game series or whatever, but you gotta be realistic.
You got to be open minded.
Yeah, you gotta be open minded. Everything. If they were launching bangers left and right, I'd be more than happy, but they're not. And most of the franchises, you can see the dip in their decline. You see Forza. The last Forza really wasn't good, and to me, that was the best racing series ever. And you can see the decline. You've seen it with Halo. You saw a Starfield, which I didn't think it was that bad, but they're over promising all over the place. And then you compare what Sony and PlayStation are doing. I mean, Nintendo and PlayStation are doing with their titles, and that's what people don't get. If you're looking, if you see an event like E3 or the Game Awards, and you see a Nintendo splash screen, or you see a Santa Monica Studios logo or Naughty Dog, and you get excited because you're, oh, what's coming up? Like Insomniac, oh, they're putting out Wolverine, or they're doing whatever, and you know the level of excellence they have in and Nintendo, or if you see Rockstar Games, or if you see CD Projekt Red, you're gonna be excited because that's or Tarantino. If you're a movie fan, you see Tarantino or Studio Ghibli or whatever, you know quality is coming from that. If you see an Xbox game, you're like, ah, shit. Yeah. Like you really have to figure out if what they're putting out is really worth the while, if they're gonna lie about it, if all these things they've shown since they showed the console, they've really haven't showed anything afterwards. And then you get disappointed after disappointment after disappointment, and I think it's frustrating for fans, but you have to be realistic, and you have to ask more of Microsoft, really.
Right. So on that note, it's
Sorry for the rant.
no, please. That's
10 out
love
of
it.
10.
yeah.
Honestly.
We have a
Agreed.
tendency where Justin has rants and Lola
Yeah.
rates it. So
And I rate them. And you did fantastic. Really
Oh,
just
yeah.
setting the bar really high.
Oh yeah. Well, and to add on top of that, especially when it comes to Xbox, like nowadays, between Game Pass and they're releasing just about everything they have that's on Xbox on PC, there's like less and less of a reason to buy the Xbox consoles, and yet they're just as toxic as ever. And it's, I mean, it's the same to some extent with the PlayStation fans, because I see a lot of that on Twitter as well, and it's just like, why do we get so tribal about this crap? I firmly believe, and I've said it a number of times, the console wars should have died at least 2 to 3 generations ago.
Oh, hell yeah.
It should have been dead and gone. And between incredulous fans that want to keep this going and certain game journalist outlets that are still fanning the flames of this, it just refuses to die. And
it won't. Unfortunately, it probably won't. And well, X or Twitter, whatever. I'm gonna say Twitter. I don't like the X.
We say Twitter.
That is so toxic. Like I usually get a lot of news from there because I do follow a lot of devs and publishers, and usually they, for whatever reason, they usually publish their affairs first. So I see all the toxic comments from all sides. But you know what? One of the things, and you touched upon it, I think it's totally true. It should have ended a long time ago.
Yeah.
But and I usually get the comment like you know what? If you want to play, just buy all the systems. But it's not realistic. Like first of all, a lot of people don't have the money. A lot of people don't have the time.
Yeah.
Like if you're an adult, if you're in college, or you're married, or you have kids, or you work. Some people just want to get home and just sit down and unwind and play for a couple hours and just go to sleep. You might get a 10-hour game and it'll last you a month. And not everybody's playing 50,000 games a year. They're not playing 150 hours a day. It's not going to happen that way. It's not realistic. And the same thing with the PC gamers. They usually say, if you want to play, just buy a PC. I'm like, you know what? If you have the know-how and you have the time and the patience, it's awesome. And I think one of the things that's going to help PC gaming a lot is the portable PCs, like the ROG Ally or the Steam Deck. That's going to help out a lot. 'Cause I think it's a little bit easier for people who don't really want to be stuck in a PC. Like I have a really nice PC, like a kick-ass PC. I don't really play on the PC. I work here. I don't want to play here. I just want to sit down. And for most people that are just gamers, that they might be hardcore, but they don't want to sit down and do 25 different updates. They just want to grab a controller, press X, and just game on. It doesn't have to be a job. I always compare it to car freaks. Like,
Yeah.
you can like a car and you can build a car from scratch. Most people won't. And it's not that it's not rewarding or whatever, but it's not worth it for most people. They just want to get in the car, hit drive, and just and go. So
Exactly.
it's really different. And for those people that say that PC is gonna eliminate the consoles or just run over it, that's never gonna happen. And even the whole graphic the whole graphic argument, that's total bull.
Yeah.
If it was really important to people, the Xbox Series X would be selling more than the S. And if you look at every generation, from I think from the PlayStation onward, only once, and that was the PS4, and that's if you don't count the Wii. Only once the most powerful console at launch was the most successful console of the generation. So people don't really care. It's like TVs. People buy crappy TVs. They'll use crappy cables when they connect them, or they don't do the settings. They don't care about the audio.
Plug and play.
Yeah, it's just plug and play. Exactly. And it's not as um you don't get audio files and just like the mega nitpicky people. That's a really small uh um sample size. Plus, and I gotta say, I really like, and to me, it's really interesting. People like Digital Foundry or Analista de Bits. I dig that, but it's been weaponized so harshly for the console wars that it's like, oh, this one has 1 frame per second in 1 second of a 150-hour game, and it's better. It's not. It's stupid. You can't tell the difference. If they don't tell you it's got 5 more pixels than the other game on the other console, you will never see it. So it's totally ridiculous, and I think it's frustrating that people use that when they don't know what they're talking about. So it's I don't know. It's kind of it's draining. It drains you, man. It really does.
Oh, it absolutely does. And honestly, I agree with you. Console gaming is going to be around for the long haul, and that's the thing. No, even PC gaming is dipping into that with with the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck, because it makes more sense. Now you have portable PC gaming, and the cost for entry is super low.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, like, graphics are not and have never been the be all end all of anything. And if they were, Nintendo would have been dead a long time ago.
Exactly.
Because they haven't been on the cutting edge in that front since the GameCube.
Yep. And it didn't work for them.
No.
And I love the GameCube. I think that's one of my favorite consoles of all time. But you're totally right. I mean, they tried it and it didn't work. And Xbox has always tried to go that route, and it really hasn't worked for them ever. And you can see consoles like all the portable consoles Nintendo's had. I think the best thing they've ever done is do the hybrid console. And every time I
Absolutely.
get a question, if then another Vita or another PSP is coming out, if an Xbox coming out with a portable system, I'm like, they're not. It's so difficult to support 2 different systems. Nobody's been able to do it. Nintendo hasn't been able to do it. PlayStation didn't do it. Sega couldn't do it. Nobody can. It's even if you have a huge stable of developers, it's so difficult to put in the quality, the time, and just the effort to have games on different systems that are completely alien one from another. And it won't happen. It right now with the cloud thing, and I'm not a huge cloud fan.
Same.
You might get a little bit of overlap, but it's not gonna be you're not gonna throw out your PlayStation or your PC to just play on your phone. I don't like playing on my phone. I don't really. I prefer just like watching clips on YouTube or whatever.
Right. Yadi, you have any questions?
You think the PlayStation Portal kind of covers that when it comes to being that you're not really, it's not really a console, but you do get that portability with the quality of the PlayStation 5.
I actually bought it because just to try it out for people and whatever. I wasn't I wasn't really sure about it. I think it's a fine piece of hardware, but it's really limited to the people that really are gonna really enjoy it or really use it. I think it's a solution to some people's problems, but it's not the same thing. It's not gonna be. And cloud is so far off. I don't think people enjoy the cloud. We've seen that nobody's talking about cloud numbers, not Xbox, not PlayStation. We saw what happened to Gaikai. We saw what happened with Stadia. It was horrible. And people think that money's gonna be the savior, and it's never gonna be that. I have a horrible quote. I don't know if you guys seen this, but Steve Jobs said in an interview, I don't know, it was like 20 years ago, whatever, that Microsoft has no class and no imagination. They basically copy everything, and they don't have any. I don't remember exactly the quote, but he's like they don't have any class. That I'm really happy for their success, but they don't create anything. They just take ideas and just give them the corporate slap, and that's it. And I always compare. I don't want to go back on Xbox, but I'm going to do it. So,
Go for it.
yeah, I always compare what happened to DC under Warner to what's happened to Xbox. I think both have talent, both have great franchises and characters and IPs, but there's a corporate ladder that's just dropping crap on them. And every time you try to do something good, you gotta deal with the upper echelon of the company, and it's really difficult, really. I mean, you see all these DC films that came out with the DCEU, and all of them have a better director's cut. Like you can see the interference, and that's something that I think Sony does very well. I think Marvel, when Bob Iger was there before, he did very well, and you can see in Star Wars a little bit right now that it could get a little bit better. Um, I like Filoni, but I think he does the Filoni thing and he does a lot of filler, and that kind of pisses me off because he does great stuff like Rebels, and he's done amazing stuff. But then you get these like for Mandalorian, I'm a big fan, but if you really look at it, they're like what 30 episodes of Mandalorian.
Mm.
If you really think about it, they're like 6 really good episodes, and everything else is just like okay, like what happens next? It's a walking. Oh, there you go, blah, Luke's back, and you get all this big stuff, and they kind of spread it out, and that happened with Bad Batch. It's happened with most of their shows, and I think the same thing that's happening to Star Wars and what happened to DC, that's the same thing that's happening to Xbox. I think they do have good stories. Like for example, 343 should not be in charge of Halo, and that's been true for over 10 years. I mean, since Bungie left, the first 2 games were decent. Afterwards, they clearly either don't like what they're doing, they're being forced to do something they don't want to do, or they're simply that's not their forte. They might be better at RPGs or party games or whatever, and they're trying to do Halo, and they're just messing up their bread and butter. How do you mess up your biggest franchise? I don't know if you guys have seen the have you seen the God of War documentary, the Racing Kratos?
No, I have
No.
not.
Okay, Sony put it out right after they came out with God of War 2018.
Hmm.
It's on YouTube. It's free. They released it full on free, and it's like I think it's like 2 hours, and it's the best gaming documentary I've seen. It gives you an insight of the struggles to bring a game to basically to customers, and it's really impressive to like us as fans and people that want to cover the industry and like the industry to see how difficult it is to have a game be successful. And you probably seen Corey Barlog when he was crying when he saw the reviews and whatever. That came out of what happened. Like people got divorced. It was like a really tough road to get that game uh, to shelves. So and they're putting out the Grounded for the second one for the Last of Us. It's coming out in the game. They're gonna have a documentary about the making of The Last of Us Part 2. So
Okay.
those two are very good. The Xbox One is pretty good too. The Power On. The Nintendo one sucks. It's on, I think, Crackle or whatever. And that's a really good one that gives you a view what happened in the industry in the 90s. That it's called From Bedrooms to Billions. and they have like 3 or 4. They're more or less, but the PlayStation Revolution, that episode, it's like 2 hours long, and besides some long ass montages that shouldn't be so long, that you're like, Jesus, is this ending? Or and they keep going. You,
Right.
you get a feel for what happened and how the industry shifted from 2D to 3D, and some of the studios that couldn't handle the difference between building a side-scrolling 2D game to building these 3D worlds that we started seeing with Tomb Raider and Super Mario 64 and all these big games. So it really puts a lot into perspective about what really goes on in the industry. It's really fun. I enjoy all this crap, man. It's just
Hey, I'm enjoying everything you're saying, man. It's just,
Absolutely.
oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
It's like I said, it's very informative. I'm definitely going to check those out because
You
I was a
should.
big fan of the Netflix series, The Toys That Made Us, or
Oh, I
the
love it, man. I love it.
and those kind of documentaries of things that I grew up with.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this. So this is gonna be super interesting.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. We have our chat. Chris Yob. He is from a different podcast. One of our
Awesome.
he does the No New Friends podcast. He's awesome. He's been our guest a couple times. So
Nice.
yeah, he's a good friend of ours.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Lola, do you have any questions?
I do. They're not related to video games. They're more related towards Star Wars.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just what?
Go for it.
Just go for it. Tell me.
Yeah.
Pop off.
You mentioned Dave Filoni, and we're
Yeah.
like, okay, we
But
got
you're
it.
like Ahsoka and Clone Wars and Rebels. Tell me about it. Yes.
Okay. I've always been a big Star Wars fan. Obviously, it's one of my first memories. I was born in '77, so my brother and sister, they're 10 and 12 years older than me. So I had like my brother was playing. He was like 10 years old when I was born, and he had toys, like bigger boy toys. And that sounds kind of weird. So yeah. Yeah, slow it down, man. Slow your roll. All right, so I started seeing this, and I've always liked fantasy and mythology, and Star Wars just hit the mark for me. It's always I got a bunch of lightsabers hanging. Just,
Oh
like,
man,
all over
don't
the
even
place.
get me
I
started.
got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? I wish I would have connected the other camera. I got a bunch of sideshow statues and Vader, and I got a Clone Wars Obi-Wan's like 20 inches tall. But you know what? Star Wars, I think the prequels. I'm not a big fan of the prequels, and I'm gonna say something
Get
that
out of here. No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna piss off a lot of people, but I kind of figure it out. I figured this out watching some behind the scenes stuff and some interviews with George Lucas, and he never liked Star Wars. He never liked that people liked what he didn't want to do. That wasn't his original vision.
Oh.
And he's always been bitter that people it's like all these artists and singers and songwriters that they write these songs that they truly love. Nobody likes them, and everybody likes the crappy catchy bubblegum song they did, and they have to sing it all their lives, and they hate themselves for it, but they have to do it. That's their bread and butter. And I think George Lucas had this story, had this idea, and you can tell the difference when um after Lawrence Kasdan did the Empire Strikes Back. You could see a little bit of the change with Return of the Jedi, which I still like, but you can tell the dialogue is horrible. That scene with Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher in Endor before Luke goes to meet up with Vader. That's some of the worst acting I've ever seen. That's like Twilight bad. Horrible. It looks like a really crappy 1960s I don't know, like soap opera. It's horrible, and I love the movies. But I think after he had total control and a bunch of yes men just all over the place, you could see the dip in quality. And I really like The Force Awakens. I know everybody hates The Last Jedi. I don't think it's that bad. I think the best thing that they've done after the original trilogy has been Rogue One and Andor. Andor's
Rogue
amazing.
One is really
Andor
good.
is
Yeah.
beautiful.
My
Jesus,
man,
man.
Andor, love it.
I love Andor.
These
Yeah.
guys still need to finish it. 'Cause honestly, my opinion, some of the best writing that
Yeah.
I think the franchise has seen in a long, long time.
To be fair, I made it to episode 6. I'm waiting for my friend to come back down from Denver so I can finish the rest of the series,
Oh yeah,
which should be happening soon. So I will give you my feedback after that.
You're watching it 1 through 9?
Yeah, I think 1 through. I think we finished at 5 or 6, and then we left it at a cliffhanger, sort
Okay.
of.
Okay.
So we're gonna watch the rest of the episodes once he comes back down here.
Nice. But I think the acting is what really it kind of changed, and the sense of wonder kind of changed. The same thing happened with I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan too,
Hmm.
and the trilogy was amazing, and The Hobbit I think started out really well. I like Marty Feldman, what he did with the character with Bilbo, but you can see that the studio got involved. Like they wanted to stretch it out to 3 movies. I mean, you can take a quick trip to the bathroom. You can read The Hobbit 5, 6 times, and it's kind of I don't know. It's one of these things that the same thing happened with The Matrix. Really, I was talking about this yesterday or a couple of days ago with a friend of mine. I'm like, the first Matrix is so amazing, and the others are so crappy, and it has the Superman problem that Dragon Ball kind of solved a little bit. That in the first movie, Neo got so powerful that you don't really care. Like the first few times he gets into scraps in the second movie in Reload or whatever it was, um, he's just invincible. So you don't care that he's getting hit by 20 agents because he can just handle. He's just like flipping his hand, and just
Right.
kicking ass all over the place. And you got to have a little bit of fear. And I think Harry Potter did it really well. I think obviously the Lord of the Rings is old as it's really old. So they did it well. Um, Game of Thrones started doing it really well until they veered off the books.
Yeah.
And I still like a couple of things in the last couple of seasons, but at one point that was my favorite show of all time, and it jumped to number 3 with Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad going up top. But yeah, it's one of those things that when you see that somebody doesn't like their jumping back to George Lucas, I kind of jump all over the place. I'm sorry, guys.
I love it.
We love it.
Yeah.
This is how our mind goes every time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking about 47,000 things at once.
Yep.
I just had a thought about Optimus Prime, so I'm gonna tell you that in a bit.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So one of the things that happens with these movies is when you have the creator and they get too much power, and obviously you can't really sit back and listen to the fans. If you have an idea, just go through with it. But if you don't like what you're doing, you're not gonna do a good job. It doesn't matter if you're the best ever, the best of all time. You're gonna mess it up
Right.
at some point. And like for example, I don't like Avatar, and I love movies. I watch all type of movies. And last year, one of the movies I really wanted to see the most was Killers of the Flower Moon. I love Scorsese. To me, he's the second best director I've ever seen after Tarantino. But I hated that movie. I thought the editing was horrible. It's when I saw a press screening, and halfway through the movie, I'm like, this movie is like an hour and 40 minutes too long. Like it's overindulgent. I don't know, man. And I don't mind the length of the movie. I've watched 4 or 5 hour movies. I actually watched. There was an HBO. They did a cut of The Godfather, of the first 2 movies in chronological order, and it lasted like 7 hours. So I watched the whole thing. And if you like Hateful Eight, they got like an extended version on Netflix that's really good. It's like 4.5 hours. So it's not the length, but when you see people get either too much power, they're too full of themselves, or they just don't like their content, it's gonna end up bad at some point.
It shows.
Yeah, it shows definitely. You can see.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, and a little fun fact. I'm not sure how many people know this, but it's like George Lucas wasn't even sure when he made Star Wars
Yeah.
in the 70s. He wasn't even sure if it was going to succeed. He didn't even, so much so that he didn't even attend the premiere.
Yeah.
He was sitting on a beach in Hawaii with Spielberg,
Yeah.
hashing out the ideas for what would become Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And you know the thing that they
That's
did with they exchanged like a percentage. Have you heard that story? When they were,
No.
I think they at the same time they were working on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I was talking about this like 2 hours ago with my wife. He was helping out Spielberg, or he was seeing like a rough cut of Close Encounters, and George Lucas got depressed. He's like, this is what I wanted to do. I think my movie's gonna bomb. I don't like where it's going. And they were friends, so they ended up like, let's switch like a percentage. And I think Spielberg got like 1.5% of the gross for what would eventually be the A New Hope. And because he thought Close Encounters was going to be more successful than Star Wars, so he never really liked, and that was always my point. He never really liked what came out and what people liked. It's like if you're a chef and you do this like a delicious plate, and it really doesn't come out how you want it, and you're like, oh, this is crap, and people love it, you're gonna be pissed. You're like, that's not what you wanted. And when you show them what you really meant to do, they're like, nah, I like the other one better. So it's got to be really horrible. But he can cry in his Ferrari or whatever.
Yeah, right.
He can go to Skywalker Ranch and cry for a little bit.
Yeah.
I wish
It
I made
reminds
those
me-
types of mistakes.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that. It reminds me of that end scene from what was it? National Treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I envision. And I
Yup.
completely understand what you're saying with it making something that you really love,
Yeah.
and not performing as well. But then when you make something that I have to make it,
Yeah.
and it performs better. And it happens to me when I'm creating TikTok videos.
Yeah.
I put my heart and soul in some videos, and I'm like, this is going to be the one that is going to shoot me to stardom. 200 views. And then
Yeah.
I create one that took me 45 seconds to make. I put it out because I was in this thing that I wanted to put at least 3 videos out for 60 days. That was my goal. And that was my last video of the day. I didn't want to post it, but I'm like, you know what? I have to. I'm on my way to work. Posted it. 400,000 views. What? I can't fathom.
You never know, man. You never know where lightning's gonna strike, and it's got to be really frustrating. It
is.
It has to be. You know, it's like on my end, I don't really create anything. Yeah, I talk about stuff I like, and I guess I got good memory or a good point of view or whatever, and that's one of the things I like. I can. Since I started doing this, I think I can read between the lines when like corporate uh any corporate guy from any company says something. I'm like, it's bullshit. I can tell that's total crap. I can read between the lines. I'm like, no, that's not what he meant, you know. And people think you're kind of crazy, but if you really listen closely, that corporate speak, it's like another language. It's like Han talking to Chewie. Like, he's like, yeah, you
They
bet.
start using big words for something that doesn't need to be. And
I know, yeah. And it's like, come on, man.
yeah, right.
Pretty much everybody has figured that out, and they see right through it.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? I gotta say real quick, talking about Star Wars, just to close that out before I forget. The worst scene I've ever seen out of any movie in movie history or TV or anything that's been caught on camera, photos or whatever. I don't know if you've seen that deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith. I think it was that Anakin's talking to on the comlink. He's talking to R2 and Obi-Wan's like, oh, what did he say? And he's like, oh, he said, "Tick, tick, blick, blick, blick," and he does the little roll. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's horrible. If you haven't seen it and you want to cringe, like, pull your people out, Look it up on YouTube. It's the most horrible thing. I'm so glad somebody said, nah, George, please.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
to watch that.
It is horrible, but amazingly horrible. It's
Mhm.
not even it's not fun to watch. It's really it's amazing how bad it is. It's like somebody actually. I mean, I feel sorry for Hayden, and I'm really glad he got a second chance with Ahsoka. He did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jesus, that scene is so horrible. Please look it up if you haven't seen it and you're listening to this after the podcast. Look it up. Write I don't know, Anakin droid speak or whatever, and it's so bad. I mean, Family Guy couldn't have done that, you know?
Right. It's funny you mentioned Anakin, and because we're going to MegaCon
Oh,
this
nice.
year, and Lola,
Everybody's gonna be
she's
there.
going. Yeah, Lola's going Saturday and Sunday. My wife and I are going Sunday, and on Sunday they have the photo op with Hayden Christensen.
Oh, nice.
So
Very
we're
excited about
very
that.
excited about that. She has Lola got the panel interview for
Ewan McGregor
yeah.
and Hayden on Saturday at 5
Nice.
o'clock. Also
So-
very excited about that. Yeah.
That's
So this year lineup is crazy.
Oh yeah,
really
yeah.
is.
And just by having Tom Hiddleston in there and
Paul Bettany.
He's
and
gonna be there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
and the main cast of Back to the Future, which I'm repping today. Back
Wow.
to the Future. But
See,
is
those movies are basically perfect.
Yeah.
I love those movies so much. The third one, man, it's kind of it's okay, but yeah,
it's a throwaway.
it's a
You can tell that the production company said, or the studio said, we need one more
yeah.
cash cow.
You know, that's the first time when I saw it in the theaters. That I don't know if I don't know if you guys saw it in the movie theater, but when the second one came out, right after the movie, it actually had the trailer for the third movie. They did it back to back. They did it like at the same time. So at the theater, I saw it like the first day it came out or first week it came out. I don't remember. I saw it with my mom, and the movie ended, and it had like a post credit scene to kind of like Marvel, and it just came out with a trailer. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't remember seeing that before, so it was really cool. It at the time. That's why I saw the movie.
That's awesome, because when you mentioned Matrix and why the second one and the third one was so bad, the second one and the third one came out 2 months apart.
Yeah. And you know what? I when I saw the third one, I had a really shitty experience because the movie, like the first 20 minutes, the audio was out of sync by like 5 seconds.
Oh,
Ooh.
no.
Sucks.
That is the
It wasn't-
worst.
And it wasn't just a little bit.
Terrible.
I've seen movies that have been like a little bit out of sync, and it throws me off. But it was like 5 seconds. Like you heard Morpheus, and it was actually Trinity talking, and it was like it looked like Kung Pao or by the way, I love Kung Pao. I think it's an awesome movie.
That's
So,
a great movie.
I love it. I can see it. I thought I saw it 4 times at the theater. I'm not embarrassed to say it. I love it. But yeah, it was horrible to watch that. And the other movie that I had to do the same thing. It was out of focus. The whole movie was Fury Road, and I love that movie, but
Man.
I came out with a headache. It was like really out of focus. I went out. I talked to the guy. He's like, "How the dude's gone." I'm like,
I did the same thing. I just didn't realize that I had to put the 3D glasses on.
"That wasn't it though."
Yeah. No, it's crazy because going back to the Matrix, I loved the whole trilogy. I loved it because to me it was one of like first of its kind.
Yeah.
Like seeing that type of a story and things like that. And then as I grew older and I started watching it, I'm like, they were kind of the acting. I'm sorry. I love Keanu Reeves.
Oh
But
yeah,
he has some moments that you're like, okay, how are you still acting?
yeah.
But
Totally.
but watching the last one that came out
Oh,
recently,
wow. Yeah, that's horrible.
I actually I wonder if they did it just to make people fall in love with the originals because it was terrible. There was no need for it.
No,
It
at all.
And after seeing this one, I'm like, the Matrix had, looking back, the it was perfect, closed out. You didn't need to do anything with it. And if you were gonna do something, why didn't you? If you're gonna talk about the Matrix, why didn't you do a prequel with a different chosen one?
That would have been cool.
Because they
Yeah.
talk about how it
Yeah.
happens every couple
Yeah.
of
Kinda
centuries,
like go back exactly.
right? So why not do that? But then he was stuck in the Matrix because the Matrix was using him as energy,
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It
right?
just went off the rails. And what you say about Keanu, I think everybody says he's like the most humble guy in the world. Him and Sandler, everybody says that they're the most humble people ever. But I enjoy John Wick. I didn't like the last one at all.
Mm-mm.
But I enjoy the movies. But like when he got the script for all 4 movies, you could have put it on a post-it note. He says like 7 words in all 4 movies, and all he does is repeat things. It's like, you got to get John. He's like, get John, and he just repeats stuff that everybody
Yeah,
says. I'm like, dude, I could do that, except the shooting stuff. But yeah,
yeah. No,
you gotta give the props. Yeah,
yeah. It's also funny that he in the last Matrix, you can tell that he's getting old.
oh yeah, yeah.
But then when he does the
been
John Wick,
old.
but when he does the John Wick movies,
Kicking ass all over the place.
it doesn't look that way.
No,
It looks like
Movie magic.
yeah.
yeah.
And
kinda
he doesn't age physically, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just,
well,
it's just crazy.
I think it helps out that John Wick isn't really like kung fu or like actual like martial arts. It's more like gunplay.
Right.
And even the one of the things I didn't like about the last one, like the whole movie, everybody has those like the bulletproof dress clothes.
Right.
All the movie they're just holding it up and like Dracula and just shooting out of it, and that turned into the whole movie. Plus they spent 15 minutes dropping him through down the stairs and him going up and going back and going up and going back, and I'm like, and I love Donnie Yen, and
Mm-hmm.
I always felt he's been so underrated. Like I love Hero and he's done a bunch of cool movies, but I don't think he's a great actor either. But kung fu wise, he's one of my favorite actors. Like I love his style. He just I don't know he looks the part.
Yes.
Like even when he did Star Wars, he didn't do much, but that was one of my favorite characters in Rogue One.
And the Ip Man movies, they are
Oh yeah.
they're
He's really good.
fantastic.
He just looks like his kung fu comes out like really sharp, like it's really beautiful to watch on screen. Like I'm not that big of a fan of like Jet Li. It always looks. I mean, he's really fast and he's small, but he looks dangerous.
Right.
But it's always very wiry. You know, he's always in wires and stuff.
Right.
And like when he did that movie, Jesus, I don't even remember the name. With Jackie Chan, with the Journey to the West movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're gonna fight. That's gonna be amazing, and it was kind of underwhelming. I don't know.
That movie reminded me of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah, but not good.
Not good. Right. It was like the Wish version.
That's one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen. When I think it's Julianne. I don't remember her name. When they meet up at the training, like inside the dojo, and they start picking up swords and stuff.
Yep.
That is so amazing. Like if you have a home theater system or kick-ass headphones or whatever, that's one of the best things. Scenes to just like the music is like dum 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 dum, dum and you cling cling cling. You hear the swords clashing. It's a beautiful scene. I love that movie so much, man.
It's funny you mention that because yesterday I actually went to sleep because I usually put YouTube videos to fall asleep, and the last one I remember watching was the best fighting scenes per year from 2000 to present.
I do that all the time too.
And that one from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was there because it's amazing.
It
is amazing.
It is, and it's not even one. I mean, that movie has like 3 really amazing fight scenes.
Yep.
Like the first time that she's stealing the sword, that fight is really awesome. And it's usually Michelle Yeoh. I love Michelle Yeoh. I think thank God she got her chance and she got her Oscar. And I wasn't a big fan of the movie. I didn't like Jesus, I forgot the name of the movie. Um, oh, the last one she did that she won the Oscar. I saw it. I'm like, this is right up my alley, and I didn't like the movie at all. I don't remember the name of the movie.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, I
Thank
think.
you, thank you. Yes, everything everywhere all at once. I thought I was gonna like it, but it's too far off. Weird. I like weird movies. Like last year, one of the best movies I saw, and I didn't expect it to. I didn't expect to like it, but it's so weird. It's good. It's Poor Things with Emma Stone. That is really good. And if you guys haven't seen Ex Machina, that's one of my favorite sci-fi movies. That movie's amazing.
Yeah, I have to watch that because every time I see a video on, because I spend most of my downtime on TikTok, I don't
Yeah.
have time to play video games as much as I want to, so I just do that.
Yeah.
But I always follow these channels on there that is like clips of movies.
Yeah.
And Ex Machina is one of those that it always gets me. I'm like, I need to watch this.
It's beautiful and it's amazing. It's a great movie, man.
Chris
He's
Yob
so
in the chat.
stupid.
Chris
He's
Yob
so-
in the chat. Everything, everywhere, all at once is what it says when I step on the scale.
He said, I never let my dragon hide when I crouch. He can't see his dragon anymore.
No. It is a hidden dragon, yeah.
Oh man.
Fun time, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
This has been fun. I have to say,
Oh, thanks, man.
I
I'm having a great time. I love talking about all these pop culture is my favorite thing after my son.
that's how I feel. My family and then pop culture.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just talk to them about it. So
Yeah, my son's 5 years old, and obviously he watches all these YouTube kids, Vlad and Nikki and Ryan and all these
oh yeah.
4-year-old millionaires, and we've actually he's like, I want to do unboxings and whatever. So when I get like I have I think the first one we did I bought from Hasbro Pulse. They have HasLab. I don't know if you guys know about that. They do like these projects and you get enough supporters, and so I got like a 40-inch Galactus, and we did the it's so amazing. I wish I could take it out. It's kind of way back, but and we do unboxings for like all the helmets and lightsabers and all the sideshow and Iron Studio statues I have. Like, for example, you know what? I can like kind of. Oh shit! I'm sorry. Almost killed the bat. Yeah, but this type of stuff,
That's great.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
I love it. It's so heavy. It's like I don't know, 8 pounds or I don't know. But yeah, I kind of dig doing that stuff with him. And right now he's into Ninja Turtles, so I'm really happy. I love the Ninja Turtles. Like the movie that came out last year, like it didn't get any love, and it's amazing. It's not a
Very
Really
underrated.
good. Yes.
but it's really good. Spider-Verse is amazing. Spider-Verse is just it's beautiful.
It
Like both of them.
the
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles and
Yeah.
Spider-Verse were tied on Rotten Tomatoes for viewers ratings at 94%.
I think that's kind of low. Both are so good, man. They're
Yeah.
so well made. I remember when I first saw the first Spider-Verse movie. I got an invite like the day before to watch a press screening, and I'm like, yeah, I saw the trailers. I didn't really think much of it. I'm like, all right, cool. And I went out of the movie theater. I'm like, what the hell? That was amazing. I love it so much. And every time I get a chance, like people, I don't like animation. I'm like, dude, just give it a try. Just give it a shot. There's some movies like either Studio Ghibli or most of Pixar the last couple of years, notwithstanding, and some I don't know if you've seen Kubo on the Two Strings. That's a beautiful movie. It's kind of stop motion. I think it's the same studio that did Coraline.
Okay.
So it's
Alright.
kinda like that weird vibe, but it feels like Lone Wolf and Cub, so like a samurai kind of thing.
Okay.
This kid, he's got like a Kubo's got like a I don't know if it's like a mandolin or whatever, like a little
Oh.
string, and he's looking for 2 strings of destiny or whatever. So he kinda meets up. It feels like an RPG in that way. Like, you meet up, like, people that, join him in his journey, and they got, like, different ability. I think it's like a knight or a samurai, I don't remember what it is, but it's such a good movie, man. And I think not a lot of people have seen it, and they should. It's just really good, man. It's really, really good. I
You have given me a list of movies that I need to watch.
You know what?
Yeah.
There's one of the biggest YouTubers in Puerto Rico, Chente Hidrach. Um, he invited me to his show, to his podcast. I've been there like 4 times, and the first time we went over there, he was not. He just interviewed me. He wanted to like get to know me and whatever, what I do, what I've done, like my whole career and the whole thing with gaming. And we just went off talking about movies. I told him that I don't know if it was on air or whatever, but he has the same thing that Joe Rogan has, that they're curious and they know how to listen. They can they can just get into any subject, because if they find it interesting, they'll just really lock in. And
Mhm.
it was really fun. But we just talked about movies for forever. And the other times I've been there, we've just been like talking about movies and TV shows and games and the whole thing. And like I said before, I love this stuff, man. I can't believe that this has been my career. Like I finished advertising and communications in college, and I never really worked. I started while I was studying. I started doing the whole newspaper and radio and TV stuff, and I finished college. But I never. I mean, I worked at the other side. I'm not doing the advertising or whatever. But uh, and it really helped me out. But I was already working in the industry,
Right.
and it was. I wanted to do something in media because I love entertainment, but I don't sing, I don't dance, I don't. Well, nobody sings, so. But it just kind of fell in my lap, and I've been so happy about it. Like, and my wife doesn't nag me about it. I'm like, shit, I got a game, I got to play tonight, and she's like, oh, okay, try to rest, and she doesn't bug me at all. So I can. I'm like, I got 4 games, I gotta review, and she's like, all right, try to rest and try to get some hours in. And so she's always been supportive, and I don't get that. I know a lot of people that do what I do, and they don't really have that same luxury. they,
Yeah.
they get on him and they're like, you know what? No, you got to do some stuff, and that she knows it's my job, and but it's the best thing when your job doesn't feel like a job. So
Right.
that's really fun.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
Oh yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I think
Oh.
that's literally what we all dream.
Oh
Yeah. We could do this all day.
True
exactly.
enough. True enough. I mean, well, I mean, you're living it right now, and
Yeah.
the old saying pops up: if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yep, you're totally right. Unless you have to wake up at 4 a.m. every morning, that's one of the things I have to do. I'm kind of used to it, but I'm not. Once I wake up, I'm kind of. I get up and I just keep working. I can sleep during the day for a couple of hours till I have to pick up my son at school. But I've never been a morning person, and the radio show we do is a morning show, and I usually go to sleep like at 12, 1, and I wake up at 4, and then I sleep a couple of hours afterwards. So, and then the weekends they let me sleep. So I might take a Friday and just go to bed at 3, 4 a.m. and I can wake up at 1 and then play my kid and just have a family day and whatever. So yeah, I can't complain, man. I don't.
That's good. That's good. That's like we said, that's what we all dream of.
Except
Oh yeah.
toxic fans.
Toxic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do complain there. I will.
Yeah. No, and you're more than welcome to anytime that you want to complain about a toxic fan. We love to talk about them. We actually in one of our episodes we brought up what gaming community has the worst and the most toxic fans, and we talked about Call of Duty. We talked about 2K. 2K has the worst toxic fans, and
Really,
and
I don't go in a game by game uh like I don't really look at it game by game. I hadn't figured that out, but yeah, you're kind of right. Yeah,
Yeah, they're insane. They're insane.
yeah, they are. Yeah, I got some. I got a friend that he actually he's a since the first season he's playing with the NBA 2K League. He played with the Pacers. He's from Puerto Rico.
Nice.
Jomar 12 or whatever. He actually won MVP one of the seasons. He played with the Pacers. He played with the Blazers, and I don't know where he's playing right now, but he's been playing for since the first actual season. You remember they did the NBA actually did a like an internal league.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a big esports guy. I don't know. I prefer playing or talking about it. But I know a lot of people that do compete. Like one of the Street Fighter champions is a friend of mine from Puerto Rico too. He's right now. I think he's in Japan or some amazing place right now, just kicking ass. So I find it interesting, but I like watching it. I find it boring. I don't know. Like I can watch somebody play, like competitions. I don't know, man. I've never been a huge fan. At
Yeah,
least for gaming.
one of the biggest gaming competitions there is in the U.S. is here in Daytona, and it's when those hotels start filling up with
Oh yeah.
with the gamers, it just you can tell that that they are focused. They're not there to drink. They're not there to
No.
It's
That-
like having a sports team.
Yep. Yep.
So it's fantastic. It's different
Yeah.
because you see they look they don't look like athletes.
No, at all. I mean, I went to. We covered. They actually flew us over to what was it? San Jose or it was near San Diego. I don't remember what it was. But we went to a Dota championship, and it was so boring. But like the final couple of matches, that was amazing. And we went to Evo. It was the first PlayStation experience. Sony took us over there, and we covered the event. And they had Evo, and what else? I've been to a couple of big competitions, like gaming competitions. And I mean, if it's like a huge event, it's good. But like, I can't sit on my PC and just watch a Fortnite competition, or even I play Call of Duty a lot. Like I usually play with my friends or whatever. I like gunfight because I like more strategic. Like I like the 2v2.
Right.
But I usually don't play like straight up like with a lot of people.
Yeah,
I
the
used to do that
gaming
with Destiny, but yeah,
the gaming competitions to me they feel like NASCAR.
exactly.
It's like in the beginning, it's like okay, another left turn.
Yeah,
But-
Another left turn.
Right. So, but when you get to that final lap, that's when everything gets insane. And that's exactly what the gaming competitions are. You want to see it. The finalists. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see who's doing it. I want to see their faces. I want to see them. This is gonna sound evil, but I want to see the disappointment on the loser. I don't know why. It makes me happy. It is what it is.
It's very on brand with you, though.
Yeah, well, very.
I get it. Don't worry about it. I totally get it. Like I'm a big sports fan too. I love sports, and I'm a Raider fan. So I've been having a horrible time at it for the past 30 years. So yeah, I kind of get it. I get disappointment in sports and competition. But yeah, and this Friday is it the Friday? Tekken comes out, and there's they opened up like a sports. It's kind of like a I don't know, like Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever, but it's like a local place, and they got like games, and it's more video game oriented, and they do streaming from uh from the locale, and we have like a celebrity competition. They did it for Street Fighter, they did it for Mortal Kombat, and they're gonna do it for Tekken. And I'm pretty good at Tekken. That's one of my that's one of my favorite games. Like fighting games. I'm pretty good at it. My main character is Lei Wulong, so he's not there, so that's kind of
That's disappointing.
it pisses me off a little bit. But yeah, but I came in second with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. They just beat my ass horribly. like fatality, and yeah, it's like I'm like, okay, so I can go drink. So like, people just hung out, and I'm like, I didn't want to play anyway.
That's pretty cool though. I haven't played like fighting games since DBZ Fighters came out.
That game is amazing.
Yeah.
Except the lobby, that's one of the worst lobbies of all time. The game's so good, man.
Yeah. Like
That is-
once you get into the fights,
Yeah,
fantastic.
oh yeah. But getting into the fights, and every fighting game's doing the same thing. They're doing those stupid lobbies, and I hate them so much. The Tekken one, at least on the demo, it kind of works. But most of those, I played DNF Duel, the beta. Street Fighter's got the same thing, that hub thing. I don't like those hub worlds. I just like going in fighting. I do like the stories they're doing with the people at NetherRealms that they've done with Mortal Kombat and Injustice. I think they perfected that style of storytelling in fighting games. And if you haven't played a good fighting game in a while, download the Tekken 8 demo. It's really good. It's sharp. It's beautiful. It's lightning fast, and I'm dying to play it, man. I'm supposed to get that. I'm supposed to get an email with the code at some time. So I'm just yeah.
Tekken was the last game I had on my PSP.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
That was dark something, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
It
I
was
love-
fun.
Oh, yeah.
I liked it a lot there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one of my, obviously not counting Mortal Kombat 2 in the Super Nintendo, but I think the first 3D fighting game that I ever played was Tekken, and that's what got me into it, because I was very into fighting games in the 90s.
Oh yeah, me too. I loved it, man. I used to go to the arcades and play Street Fighter. I got a Mortal Kombat arcade one up right over here, right off camera. Let me see if I can get it. No, I think I can do the whole. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Sick.
yeah.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah, I
The,
kinda
the first fighting game I ever played was Killer Instinct,
Yes.
Really?
Super Nintendo. Yeah,
I go way back. I played Karate Champ and Yaya Kung Fu, and those were
Oh, wow.
oh, I literally that was a really good game for the time. It felt kind of. It's the game that mostly feels like a modern like fighting game. I think like old school 8-bit game. But yeah, and there's so many games coming out. Like we've had some amazing games the last couple of years. Like I had a virtual fight with some idiots, some fanboys, and they're like, "What else play?" You know that's one of the funny things that Xbox fanboys are doing right now, like the toxic ones. Not everybody. I don't want to get everybody up on up on a stool just trying to fight me. But when like if you look at every year what games launch, like what great games launch. I mean, Nintendo always has quality, but they really don't put out that much. I mean, we've been lucky this generation because the Wii U was nobody played it, nobody bought it. So a lot of the games they ported them over, and then we have like a little bit more cadence about with launches of games like Mario Kart, Splatoon, and obviously Zelda, and all these games that actually were Wii U games, and they ported them over. So they were a little bit ahead of the curve compared to other systems. 'Cause most like when I started working in the industry, like actually covering games and starting getting a foothold and getting into contacts with the different publishers. I remember there was a whole year, a year and a couple of months with the Wii that I had it turned off. I didn't turn it on for like a year and a couple of months, and because nothing was coming out. And the thing is that this is one of my fights with these Xbox guys that don't get what's really going on. I'm like, listen, Nintendo, you buy a Nintendo system because you know their games are going to be great. You know it's going to be Smash Brothers and Pokemon and Zelda and Mario and Metroid, which I love, but it doesn't sell at all. I don't know if you know this, but the whole Metroid series hasn't sold 20 million copies. Like every game, every Metroid game put together, they have not sold 20 million
And they're
copies.
such great games too.
They're amazing.
Exactly.
I mean, they got like 3 that totally suck, like Other M and a couple of games. But usually they're amazing games. Metroid Prime, the first one, is one of the best games I ever played. Super Metroid is ridiculously good. The first one's amazing. They got a bunch of. I love Metroid, but they don't sell. But they do have these games. So when you buy a Nintendo system, you know you're gonna get quality games. And PlayStation for a long while, it really lived off of a couple of first party titles in PS1, PS2, and a lot of great third party games. But afterwards, if you jump to like halfway through the PS3 generation, they really started to do amazing work. And we've had like 12 consecutive years of them having some of the best games I've ever played. Like you go to Infamous, Bloodborne, you get Horizon, you get The Last of Us, you get Uncharted, you get God of War, you get Spider-Man, you get all these great games, and it's just Ghost of Tsushima is amazing, and it's just one year after another, and you're getting these experiences that I've had people that have been lifelong Xbox fans that follow the podcast, and they everybody that writes to me on Instagram, I try to answer questions and just talk to them every time I can. So when we and they're like, listen, I've been an Xbox fan since 2001, and I just bought my first PlayStation. I'm playing all these games, and you can tell the difference in quality between what Nintendo and Sony launch and what everybody else launches. With a few exceptions, obviously, like I mentioned before, like Rockstar Games or somebody like CD Projekt Red, except the launch of Cyberpunk. But you get all these great studios that launch amazing stuff, and some of them don't sell. Like I'm dying to play. I want to play Hellblade, but the reality is the first one, not a lot of people played it, and it's not really a long game. It doesn't have great gameplay. It's just an amazing concept, very well thought out. And I love Ninja Theory. I think they're probably tied with some of the best in the industry doing facial expressions and motion capture. They're just amazing. I don't know if you guys played Heavenly Sword. They actually had an Andy Serkis doing the villain for the game. It came out first year PS3. It kind of looked like like Horizon, like Aloy. Had the girl with the red flowing hair, and she had like a
Yeah.
big ass sword, and it was a decent game, very short, 4 or 5 hours, and they never sell. It's the same thing with Remedy. I love Remedy, and until Control, none of the games sold. And it's I'm like, I can't believe these games don't sell. And right now, I'm like, if I can tell you like the 3 games I'm really looking forward to this year, besides Tekken that's coming out this week, um, obviously Final Fantasy VII Rebirth looks ridiculously good. Star Wars Outlaws looks amazing, man. That game really, I did not expect that at all. And afterwards, I mean, Indiana Jones looks good. Um,
Yes, it does.
and people are crapping on it, and I think it looks pretty good. And Machine Games is a good studio. I don't mind it being first person. Like we said, Metroid Prime's amazing, and it's a first person adventure game. It's same as BioShock. I love BioShock. I want to.
BioShock is great.
Jesus, I love those games. So there are a lot of good games coming out, and those 2 games, and what's the third one? I had another third big game I want to play this year, so I can't remember that right now. But there are a lot of great games coming out. 2024. So can't believe I'm saying that. 2024 sounds so futuristic, and it's not.
Yeah.
Right.
Very cool.
And
So quick,
out of all those games that you mentioned, none of them are Xbox exclusive.
No. I mean, I don't like how Avowed looks like for real. I don't really like.
Listen. I'm an Xbox fan,
Yeah.
but I also don't. I'd like to get into the arguments.
Yeah.
With people because I'm an instigator.
Yeah.
It really is.
Half of the stuff I don't really care for.
But
Like I really don't
crap,
care about the console wars. I love every single console. I don't have a PlayStation because, like you said earlier,
Yeah.
not everyone can afford all three consoles. I
Well,
have
you
a
don't have
Switch
time.
and I
Yeah.
have a Series X.
Yeah.
So
And a PC.
and a PC, so I don't have time to play one of them,
Yeah.
let alone 4. So it's
So let
just
me ask you: Are you happy with the Series X?
yeah.
Like, is it what you thought it was gonna be when you bought it, or
I think that it was what I expected.
okay?
I didn't think that I didn't it didn't feel like I got sold short.
Okay.
It was a new generation. It felt different from the previous one. It's not like they put it in a new case and they sold me the exact same console.
Yeah.
So it felt refreshed. I also like the fact that it looks like a box. So I've had every single console except for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
So I can compare, and to be honest, I just love gaming.
Oh yeah.
I
Of course.
don't care what console it is. I like I said, my first console was a Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
and I've had Game Boys. I've had DS. I've had Nintendo Switch, and it's just all over the place. But I've always like drift towards Xbox. It's what's familiar.
Exactly. You know,
So,
one of the mistakes I think they did when they launched the console. I had the console. They sent me one like almost 2 months before it came out, and I think one of the big mistakes they did. You know, the user interface they debuted it on Xbox One.
mhm,
I would have held that off till the console launched. So
right,
so so it felt new because I've been playing with it 3 months before it came out, and I'm like, it kind of doesn't feel like anything. And usually, like for Xbox One, they send me the console and they send me like 30 games. Some backwards compatible, some games that were coming out further down the road, and all the launch titles they had, like Killer Instinct and what's the name? That's a zombie game. I don't remember. Dead Rising 3, Rise Son of Rome, which I love and everybody hates, and Forza, and I had like a bunch of games that came out, some horrible Connect games. But like for the Xbox Series X, when it came out, like they didn't send us anything because there wasn't really anything to play. Like most of the games, they said, listen, you have these codes for these games that are coming out further down the road, and none of them have had updates, and none of them worked. Like during the review period, if you look back, go search for like older videos for people doing the previews for the Xbox Series X, and they're like, "Ah, we played this game, and I could play Ori, which is amazing,
yeah, I remember.
and
Ori.
I think Gears of War were the two games that you could play." And but I'm like, I already played these. I played these games. You know, it's like I need something new. I want to play something new, and the user interface thing. I think they dropped the ball right there. They should have just held it till launch. Even if you're going to launch it on Xbox One, why would you like release it before?
Right,
That never made sense to me. It was just a weird uh, decision by Microsoft. That I never even I would have even launched it on the Series X and then put it on Xbox One a couple of weeks later
right,
if that was an option. So I don't know. It just felt like when you got to the system, they didn't have any games. And I was dying to play Halo until I played it, and that's the thing that like I don't know. I mean, if you're happy with the purchase and you're happy with the console, that's awesome, and that's always been my point. You enjoy the games you enjoy. Like people fight about the game of the years and all this stupid stuff. It doesn't matter really. If a game you like and you enjoy it and it's your favorite game isn't even nominated, you still enjoy the game. You don't have
right,
to go back
Mhm.
and but this one deserved. It doesn't matter. Those all those awards are for the developers, not the gamers. That's for them. If Oppenheimer wins best movie, and you like the movie, great. But it's really for Nolan and Killian Murphy, and by the way, that's an amazing movie. You haven't seen it, and all the cast and all the people involved in the movie. It doesn't validate anything for you. It doesn't. change anything for you. I used to take sommelier classes. My wife used to work at a restaurant back in the day, and they had like an industry thing. So I used to take like wine appreciation classes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, listen, you can have a $1,000 bottle of wine and you don't like it, and you can buy a $5 bottle of wine and you love it. That's the first. Your favorite thing is your favorite thing. It doesn't
Right.
matter what everybody else likes or what everybody else doesn't like. I've never been a person that goes with the flow. I like what I like, and that's it.
Right.
So, and I can be transparent enough to like I'm not a big Pokemon fan. I don't like Smash Brothers, but I understand why people like it. And I've always reviewed the Smash Brothers game really well. I don't like that style of fighting game. I prefer traditional Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur. I like that style of fighting game better. But I can tell that I can play it, and I'm like, this game's virtually perfect.
Right.
If I don't like that style, then the only games I really don't review are RTS games because I suck. Wrestling games because I hate wrestling with a passion. I cannot stand wrestling at all, and I don't understand wrestling games, so I just don't even ask for them. I'm like, "Look, I'm good, but I don't talk crap about them either. I just don't like it.
Right.
It's not my bag. But
If you do, you're gonna trigger 3 different people. Please do it.
Those are games. They have their audience.
yeah, they
yes.
have their audience. Exactly. Like right now, the Pal World thing. It does like 5 things that I don't like in games, and I know I have to play it. I know it's been huge. I'm not a big fan of Fortnite. I hate the building stuff. If you have to build in a game, you lost me at all. At once, you already lost me. I can't. I'm not good at it. I don't find it fun. I like to play other people's experiences, like in Little Big Planet or Mario Maker or Dreams that nobody played, but they did some amazing stuff there. But I can't stand, like, the building stuff. I
Mhm.
hate, games like Ark, and that game's kinda like Ark. And Pokemon, the same thing. Like, when Pokemon came out, I already played Final Fantasy, Dragon Warrior, and I played actual RPGs. So I saw it like RPG Light, and I'm like, it's cool, but I don't like the story. They're rehashing the same game all over and over and over again. It's like I don't know, man. It's one of those things that it might be great, but I'm definitely sure it's not for me. So I might not review it.
Yeah, we here are very big fans of Pokemon.
Yeah.
But we
Except
also
for me.
right. We also understand why people wouldn't like them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like the latest one I bought. We all bought it, right? But we played, but I cannot play more than 30 minutes on it. I start falling asleep because I need to be in an adrenaline rush, like playing Call of Duty or
Yeah.
other just shooting games or just fighting because it's more entertaining for me than those other games.
Yeah,
right.
and I don't have any problems with Pokemon really. It's just that it's not for me. But I can understand the value in it, and I've never reviewed like in any review I've done for Pokemon, even though I'm not a huge fan. I know they're good games. It's just not for me. So I can separate myself from both things. I can review the game and be honest about it because I don't care. It really that's my opinion. I don't like scores. I don't do scores. I think scores are cheap and really it doesn't help anybody out. Except for Metacritic and all these guys, but it's not really a thing that I like to do. I prefer to like tell you what I think is good or bad in a game, and you take your own decision. It's I know games are expensive. It's not like a movie. A movie, if I tell you a movie is great and you watch it and it sucks, well, you've lost a couple of bucks. Games are expensive, so
Yeah.
I feel responsible to like. So I'll tell you how I really feel, and I don't get paid for if you watch or don't watch a game or a movie. So it's people think they do. It's one of the most ignorant things. Like with Marvel, Marvel's paying you, and if PlayStation's got you on your payroll, that doesn't happen, man. It's that's all total. fanboy stuff and conspiracy theories and stuff. There are people that are just hating on the X or Y system, and there are people who just don't care. They
Right.
give you cool stuff, so
Yeah. As soon as you tell someone that you don't like what they like,
they get pissed.
yeah,
Yeah.
Of
there's
course.
something wrong with you.
Yeah,
They get offended.
It's
a
like you told him
personal-
that you hate him.
yeah.
No, it's a personal attack against them, and how dare you not
Right.
like what I
Exactly.
like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if you like it, well, good for you. So I'm like, I can't do anything about it. If you do like it, it's awesome. If you don't, that's great too. You know.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's like I said earlier, I'm an instigator. So if I find out you don't like something, and depending on how you react,
Yeah.
if you tell me, yeah, I don't like it, and then that's it,
Yeah.
I leave you alone. Completely understand.
Yeah.
But Yadi understands this point. Like, if you start arguing with me when I just said my opinion and I wasn't really attacking you, I'm going to find a way to like really piss you off because I wasn't trying to, but now you made me want to.
Yeah. Oh, you step in the ring, you gotta go for
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah. We're gonna cut this. We're going on an hour and 41 minutes right now, but
Woo!
yeah, but it didn't feel that way. Last time I looked at the time, it was 23 minutes, and I look up again, I'm like, wow.
Also, I would like to point out that the both episodes, or the two episodes that we have that are extremely long, are both video game related.
Yep. The
Oh,
first video game episode we had to split it in 2 episodes because it was a 3-hour episode.
Yep.
So, before we go, I want to ask you, what do you think about if you have any theories about Deadpool 3?
You know what? I've been trying to not see a lot of the stuff coming out. It's basically impossible, and I think we're gonna get a trailer on Super Bowl Sunday. I hope so, like a teaser. I'm dying to see the movie. I love Deadpool. I love obviously Hugh Jackman. When he did with Logan was amazing. I think they're gonna go all out. I think it's gonna be Roger Rabbit with I think it's gonna be a whole thing that you're gonna get some really weird stuff, and I think if Marvel's really smart, they'll let him go for it, like all the way. And if you see what they did with Echo, with what's okay, but they've started to go a little bit harder, and I think with Deadpool they're gonna go all the way. They need to do it.
I think the movie is going to save them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. The last one was amazing. I loved it.
Great movie, yes.
Yeah, and some of the even some of the like Shang-Chi was decent. Eternals was a great concept, but it was poorly executed. I don't know. They kind of they let everybody go, and they didn't really have a plan. You can tell they didn't have a plan because even some of the good stuff I like a little bit Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I kind of enjoyed it. It's kind of weird and it doesn't feel very Marvel-y, and then they kind of they showed a lot in the trailers that they shouldn't have. And even the Spider-Man movies were really good, but it doesn't have the same weight that other movies from Marvel had because you don't have that main character. You don't have that Tony Stark. You don't have that a Captain America. You don't have the main villain. So even Ant-Man, I like the first 2 movies. The third one had some fun bits, but it's a mess. You can tell that when Bob Iger left, he left a hole. And I know people are kind of crapping on him right now, but I think you have to give him time to get their shit back in order.
He has to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, and it was broken. The only thing that helped them out really was that DC got worse.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally agree.
And people think I hate DC, and I don't. But the movies have been really bad, and some of even the good ones, like the second Suicide Squad, I think was awesome. I love James Gunn, but being totally honest, even with James Gunn and the whole reboot, I don't think they have a shot at rebooting this. I think that if they wait like 15, 20 years, they might be able to do it. But it's not a thing that they can just pick up and nobody's gonna watch the next. If they didn't watch Black Adam with The Rock, sure it was a crappy movie, but The Rock is a big draw. Flash was horrible. I hate that movie so much, and I watched it at home. I couldn't go to the screening. I watched it at home, and I'm like, this is total crap. I was tired, and I didn't want to stop because I wasn't gonna finish the movie. Aquaman was horrible too. Blue Beetle wasn't that bad, but it wasn't great. It felt like a decent 1990s superhero movie. Um, but I don't think people care anymore. They have the best characters. They have the most recognizable characters aside from Spider-Man in the whole comic book universe at that time when they came out, and they just messed it up.
Mhm.
And I'm not. I hope the new Joker's gonna be good, but I'm not really sold on the whole musical thing. I hate musicals, and and I think the best
Yeah.
thing they've done recently, and I wanna see that again and again and again and again. Peacemaker was amazing. Peacemaker was so funny and so fun, and I kind of like the character in the movies, but the series, even the intro, oh man, that was so
Yeah, that's
cool.
there's some series that when you're watching on streaming, they you can skip the intro.
Yeah. I never did. I
Peacemaker.
watched it like last week on YouTube, the intro.
Yeah, it's insane
Yeah,
because
it is.
and John Cena is so underrated.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He had this movie with Jackie Chan last year or the year
I
before.
didn't see it. I want to see it though.
It's great.
It's
Really,
on Netflix, right?
Yeah,
I think yeah.
yeah, it's
What's
a
it
great
called?
movie. Oh
That
man,
movie.
That
I'm
movie.
bad with names. I'm so bad with names.
I got you. Well, while you're looking it up, to add to your point, I think it's not impossible that DC can kind of pull off this reboot and make it better than it has been, especially with the DCEU
Yeah.
and the large amount of disappointment that's been.
Yeah.
They can do it, especially with James Gunn at the helm and what he's done thus far. But I
Yeah.
think it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure they can do quality stuff. The
Mm.
thing is bringing people to the theater. That's going to be the real
Right.
problem. That's because even with like I said, the second Suicide Squad I think was a good movie. I think it was fun, and I think people that like Deadpool would have liked that movie, but the first one was so bad, and the DCU was falling on his face all over the place. I mean, if you can't sell the Flash with Michael Keaton and Batman and Batfleck and the whole thing and Wonder Woman because they spoiled everything in the trailers
yeah,
and Black Adam with The Rock and Superman coming back and nobody cared. I mean, Batman v Superman and Justice League, nobody saw it. I mean, it would have been the 15th or 12th highest grossing Marvel movie, and it should have been a $2 billion movie, and I don't get it. And then they did the Snyder cut, and you do it 4:3 ratio, and it's so weird. I don't know, man. It's a lot of it's studio. I'm sorry, interference, but man, it's gonna be hard. I think they can do good movies, and I like the direction they're going in, but it's gonna be hard to bring the public back. Like the Marvels isn't really a horrible movie, but nobody cared. Absolutely nobody cared.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Disney Plus to put it out.
I think it's fine. It's probably a little bit better than the first one. I'm not a huge fan of the first one, but I think it was okay. This one's okay. The action is pretty fun. Iman Volani, the girl that plays Miss
Kamala.
Marvel, yeah, Kamala Khan. She carries the whole movie. She really carries the whole movie. But the thing is, nobody saw her series. Nobody knows Monica Rambeau. Uh, so you're carrying the movie with Brie Larson, which apparently nobody likes.
For
And
some reason, I don't understand that whole why the internet
yeah,
hates Brie Larson.
I don't get it either. For real, I don't. I think
Yeah.
she's she's a decent actress, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like nobody watched the movie, nobody cared, and like when I went to see it, I saw it for a press screening, and afterwards we went to a premiere. The premiere was empty, like halfway through, like they were giving away tickets and nobody went. But everybody that went, kind of enjoyed it. Everybody was like, okay, it's like you know what? Did you guys see Gran Turismo?
Yes,
I
that
haven't
was
yet.
great.
Not yet.
It should have sucked, and it's amazing. It's really fun. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's really fun.
Hmm.
It's a lot more enjoyable than you would think. I came out of the theater. I'm like, that was surprisingly good.
Yeah,
Like, did not expect that, and even the story, how they build it up, and
the
we go back
acting was
to
fantastic.
the acting was fantastic. The racing shots were great. The only movie I've seen with better racing shots, and it's not that far off. It's Ford versus Ferrari. That was a
Great
that
movie.
yes. This one's it's not that far behind. I mean, the story is not maybe as tight, but
Hmm.
it's pretty fun. It's really fun, and the action's great, and it's on Netflix. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Twisted Metal. That is so fun too. I thought it was gonna be crappy,
I
and
want to start watching it.
I want to
Yes.
start watching it too.
Yeah.
There's so
I
many
thought-
things. There's so much going on, and so many new
yeah.
things coming out that the time just goes away.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Last of Us was amazing. The Last of Us
Yes.
HBO
Yes.
really solid. But Twisted Metal, I thought it was gonna be total crap, and it was so fun. I'm not a big fan of Anthony Mackie, but he did a great job. It was really fun.
That's awesome. That's
Yep.
awesome. All righty. Well, thank you, El Giga, for being here.
Yes. You guys were
it-
the invitation.
it was so awesome. It was so fun.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
Absolutely.
You are pretty much the first kind of interview that we've had in the podcast. So,
Oh, great! I know that.
yeah, it was. I usually don't get nervous for things like this, but I was like, I don't know, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how it's gonna go on, but you carried the show, so I appreciate you for that.
I'm sorry, man. I never shut up.
No, listen, it was a lot of information,
I
and
thought
we
you
loved every single bit of it.
Incredible
I-
conversation.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah,
you.
I had questions and you answer them without me asking, so that's great.
Oh,
That's awesome.
That's
No, but
awesome.
fun fact though.
Yeah.
So they all thought that you and I were friends. So they're like, hey, how long have you known Ivan? And I was like, well, I don't know him. I follow him for a long time, but I don't know him. But yes, thank you so
Because-
much for
Yeah, because
and by
I-
all of them,
I-
he means Luis.
I thought from the way that he was talking, and I was going to, one of the questions I was going to ask is like, how long have you known each other? But I'm just happy that I actually asked a question before, because I was gonna, it's better as a story than actually going with it, and it would have been bad.
You should have
Would've
not
been-
said anything.
Yeah, I'm glad I did.
Well,
Something-
I was talking more to Yadi. You should have been like, we had it for like 5 years or so.
Can you imagine?
No. All right. So Ivan, where people can find you, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, or if you want to ask me questions, obviously you can look me up on Instagram, El Giga 947. It's right there on the screen. You can see it. The same on YouTube. That's where you can best watch my podcast, Gigabyte Podcast. I'm kind of I don't really have I usually do like 2-3 podcasts a week. And I do it's kind of the same thing. It's just me by myself, but I answer questions. I really read the comments when people are asking stuff, and I really try to like have this this is a community, man. All pop culture in the world is just a community. We like the same things, even if they're different things. We like the same things, and it's enjoyable. It's a totally different thing than we live like 10, 15 years ago. This wouldn't happen. This would not happen for any of us.
No.
We probably have 1-2 friends that share some of the things we like, and that's it. But now it's a huge community. Social media has helped a lot, and I try to do the same thing. So every time I do the podcast or do content, I really try to talk to people. I enjoy it. I enjoy even fighting with people if they have a different opinion. I don't
Xbox
mind.
people.
Yeah, Xbox people or PC gamers. I don't mind if you have a different opinion. I just like the conversation. So I don't think I'm smarter than anybody else. Well, there's some people that, yeah, definitely everybody's smarter than them. But, but yeah, I just enjoy it, man. And I'm always here for everybody. I get asked a lot to be on podcasts. I thought it was interesting that it's in English. I actually started doing podcasts. I did like 3 in English. And I have to start doing it again. I really enjoy it. So, but yeah, I'm always here for you guys. If you guys want to shoot it up or talk or whatever, you can hit me up on Instagram and we can do this again sometime. So
Oh, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, with that being said, just make sure if you want to find us, just go on our website, thenerdarchive.com. You can find all of our episodes on there. Either also you can go on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Google Podcasts is not a thing anymore. You gotta go. Right. Yeah, you gotta go on YouTube Music now.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So
Got that. Yeah.
yeah. So also we record live on Tuesday nights. And thank you guys for joining us today. This was Yadi, Lola, Justin. My name is Luis. Thank you, Giga. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Click all the things. Power.
That was good.